The people here are very friendly, very nice, and that seems like, oh, that's just, you're just saying what you should be saying. You sound like it's so perfect there in Ghana, but like, it's truly a friendly culture. Like, no matter where you go, as soon as you get somewhere, usually 9 times out of 10 someone is saying akwaba, which is welcome in Twi. So they're welcoming you into the motherland, they're welcoming you into your home, and they want you to feel comfortable. They want you to feel at home. They want you to feel like they're happy that you came to Ghana. And I think that's very, very important, especially as a foreigner, because when you come into new territory, you want to feel like you belong. You want to feel welcome. And I definitely feel that. And for me, it's very, very interesting because I'm an introvert. So sometimes it's a lot for me because, a lot of people want to talk to me, like just asking me where am I from, oh my gosh, your piercings, your tattoo, your clothing, your accent, the way you talk. It kind of can be a lot because sometimes I'm the first person that someone has seen like physically in person with facial piercings, with a tattoo, other than on TV, other than in movies on their phone. So for a lot of people, I have to like just be mindful that they're genuinely curious and they mean no harm. But then also sometimes it becomes a lot for me because not every time I sit down somewhere I want to have a conversation, or not every time I go somewhere I want to be not necessarily interrogated, but I just don't always feel like talking. And a part of a friendly culture is people wanting to talk to you, get to know you, be your friends, and I'm very, very, very appreciative of that. And sometimes I just have to just step away from crowds a little bit, even like when I'm back home, because I'm like, this is a lot for me and I just need to breathe, essentially. Transportation is very contingent upon who you know. So if you have friends with cars, clearly, that's how you can get around. If not, you can use Uber or an app called Taxify, which is kind of like Uber, but sometimes Taxify is cheaper than Uber. You can walk depending on how far away your destination is. If you're going like out of the country or you're going a couple of hours away, you can do like, the big buses like they have back home in the States. And there's some things I would say that's special to Ghana. I'm not really sure about Africa as a whole, and they might be called something different. But here in Ghana, you can trotro. And essentially a trotro is kind of like a van slash bus, and they take you from various places. And for example, the mall here is about maybe 15 or 20 minutes from University of Ghana, like where I stay on campus. And an Uber ride, it would be about 20 cedis, I believe. But if you go on a trotro, it can be anywhere between 120, 140, 160, so like 1 cedi and some pesos. So you're saving a lot of money. The only thing with trotros is that they stop very, very frequently. I would say even more frequently than like city buses. So if you're trying to get somewhere in a hurry, you might want to take Uber or take Taxify or a taxi and not trotro. But if you have time, take a trotro, save money, or just leave early and enough, with enough time to trotro. And I personally prefer trotroing over Uber just because I trust the trotro drivers a lot more than I trust the Uber drivers. Like, I've had some pretty close incidents driving wise in Ubers, but I don't know, I feel like the trotro drivers are just a little bit more experienced, and they are a little bit more well versed on the roads. And obviously, if anything happens to you in a bus or a van, you're a lot better off than in a small car. So that is the transportation situation. I'm using my glasses to hold down this side of the page. Dorm life. This is something that I could not find anywhere on YouTube before I got here. And just for people who might be studying abroad at the University of Ghana in the future, if you want to know about the dorm life, I really want to share that with you all, because I feel like this is also a very unique experience for me. So to start off, I want to say that when I first got to college, or before I even got to college, I always said to myself, I want to do a homestay when I study abroad. I knew that I wanted to study abroad at least once, and I wanted to do a homestay because I wanted to kind of immerse myself in that way. And when I was applying for the University of Ghana, I was like, how can I do a homestay? I really want to do this. If you know that I'm studying abroad with a program called ISEP, International Students Exchange Program, and homestays were not an option. So I was like, okay, dorm life it is. And then at the same time, I was like, well, it would be really cool to stay on the University of Ghana's campus, like a local student, like a international student, because I've never stayed in an international hostel before. When I was in London last summer, we stayed in flats, which are also apartments, with our professors and our classmates. So this would be my really first authentic international student experience, the way that I always envisioned it. So with that being said, I'm so glad that God only gave me the option to do dorm life, because I've met so many cool people. I've met so many people from Nigeria, so many people from French-speaking African countries. I've met people from Europe. I've met people from Asia. I've met people from all different types of walks of life. And had I done a homestay, it would have not been the same experience, because even though you can be a part of your community and a part of this life here on campus doing a homestay, it's a lot easier when you can just walk to your friend's dorm 2 doors down, or go downstairs. So I'm really appreciative to have the opportunity to live here on campus in the International Student Hostel. One thing that I knew before I got to Ghana and got to the UG, it's called UG for short, is that there wasn't going to be hot waters in the showers. So before I even got here, I was like, okay, I'm going to prepare myself. I'm going to start taking cold showers. But I just literally could not do it back home, because I've taken 2 cold showers my entire life prior to coming to Accra. I was like, I need to savor the hot water while I can. So I didn't do that, and then I got to Ghana. The first night, it was rough. I was very cold in the shower, but it really only took about 1 to 3 more nights for me to get adjusted to the hot water. Get adjusted to not having hot water. And it is so hot here in Ghana that you don't even want hot water. There are some people who will do kettle baths and get hot water and things like that. But for me, it's so hot. At the end of the day, a cold shower is exactly what I want. So that's that situation. The laundry services is what I did not know, because online it says that we did have the laundry services. What I did not know was that meant that there was one laundry room and you had to pay to have your clothing washed and dried. And back home, I'm used to everything being inclusive. So that meant I could go downstairs or go around the corner to the laundry room whenever I wanted and wash my clothes day and night. And here, you have to get used to being on campus with this laundry service. They're open throughout the day, not always if you want to dry a blanket at 3 a.m. you can't do that. So I hand wash, and then I hang out my clothes on a rack to dry. Now I get my blankets and my pillowcases and heavy duty stuff to be washed and dried downstairs, but primarily I am hand washing everything and letting the heat from the sun dry everything. So that is very, very humbling for me. It's not like I've never had to do that before, but having to do this every 3 days or so, because I don't want it to pile up, it definitely makes me appreciate having access to my own washer and dryer whenever I want to back at ECU. I do not have a refrigerator in my dorm because I did not want to pay extra money for one. I don't have a microwave. We have a kitchen on every floor. Well, there's about 2 or 3 kitchens on every floor, and you can use the public refrigerator if you want to. I don't really use it because it's pretty nasty. And you can also use the stove, so you can cook or do whatever you want in there. It's just like any other campus, you should just clean up after yourself and be, very mindful of that. Then we have TV rooms where a lot of the times guys watch the football games. And when I say football, I mean soccer. Here in Africa, you call soccer football. So it's usually loud on Sundays and other days of the week when soccer teams play. But if you go in there on a day when no one is in there, you can watch movies, you can watch TV, whatever you want. Fun fact, there's a study room, I believe. I don't know if there's one on every floor or just one particular floor here, but I haven't been in it before. So yeah, I probably should utilize that before I leave in December, but I know that it's here. We are moving on to nightlife. Depending on who you are as a person, it's gonna look different for everybody. Not everyone wants to go out, not everybody wants to do this, that, and the third. So, whatever. It's completely up to you. It's your call. There are nightclubs you can go to. There are restaurants you can go to that play nice, smooth jazz music. There's concerts, just about anything. So I've primarily gone to a town called Osu, which is about 15 or 20 minutes away from Accra, away from where I stay on campus. And you can hang out outside, you can do a little nice sip, nice little drink with your friends, you can get food, you can listen to music. It's where I get a lot of the dance moves that I do very poorly. I mean, it's kind of just like anywhere, in the sense that you just have to be careful, cautious, be mindful of yourself, be mindful of your drink, just have fun, but don't overdo it. I definitely prefer the nightlife scene here because it's not in the sense like I'm used to. Everyone is just going out and having a great time. They're minding their own business. They're leaving each other alone. I just really love seeing all of the Ghanaians and Africans and people in general when they get together and dance. It's just so, so beautiful to watch. And I kind of partake in like one particular move. This is gonna be so embarrassing to watch later on online, but that's one of the only things that I can do. But I do enjoy going out with my friends, and I don't have classes on Friday, so going out Thursday sometimes, going out on Friday sometimes, Saturday. Ghana is a primarily Christian country, and with that being said, there are a lot of religious signs that can be like, whether on the back of a trotro, it can be like Onyame, which is God, and Twi, or it can be Philippians, it can be a Bible verse, it can be a message that is biblical, whatever the case may be. Religion and church are very big here. That's not to say everybody is Christian, not everybody is spiritual or religious, but a large portion of this country is. And it's very interesting to see the people who are counter religion, counter spirituality, because there are a lot of Ghanaians who also are not, religious or spiritual, and just listening to them, it's very, very interesting to hear that, because they're immersed in this, they're constantly surrounded by religion and spirituality. So to hear them say they're not sticking rigidly to this, it's it's very, very interesting to hear that dialogue. And for me, I wasn't really like, what's the word I'm looking for, proactive in finding a church when I got here, because I was adjusting and I really didn't know where to go. There's so many different churches, you don't really know whose message to believe, you don't really know what anyone's motive is for running a church. But you can't use that as an excuse not to go to church. So a few Sundays ago, I finally found a church that I like to attend here in Accra, and I like that church a lot. I'm grateful that I found it. Actually, I didn't find it. A friend of mine told my other friend, and she told me, and yeah. And a point I want to make about religion, it's very interesting because even in class we will be talking and there will be a reference to God or a reference to the Bible, and even like when we leave class, the teacher will be like, God willing, I'll see you on Monday. God willing, we'll be here next week, and things of that nature. And it's it's so interesting to me, like just those little things stick with me, because back home, it's so separate, church from school, and you can get in big trouble sometimes for even saying certain things about religion or about church in school. But knowing that religion is so tightly woven into the culture here permits that discussion is very interesting to me, and something that I picked up on from the very beginning of my time here in Accra. When I was thinking about how I wanted to end this video, I asked myself, what is a question that I can answer? And that question is, what's something that I'm still adjusting to? So being in Ghana over 2 months, what is something that I'm still adjusting to? Despite loving the country so much, despite there being so much to be so happy about, what am I adjusting to? And for me, I would say I get a lot of stares, and sometimes they're stares of like fascination, sometimes there's stares of maybe disgust or disappointment, sometimes stares of unwanted attention, like I do not want. And it's all from my piercings and my tattoo. And like not a day goes by that I'm not getting stared at. And I just didn't expect piercings to not be like widespread here in Ghana, because I know that in some African cultures, in some African countries, like women have big earrings, they have facial piercings, and very ignorantly of me, I could have, found out what countries those specifically are, not Africa as a continent. But I've been here over 2 months, and I'm not exaggerating when I say I have not seen anybody at all who is not an international student or an international person who has facial piercings or has a tattoo. And I am not exaggerating. I've been looking, and I do not see anybody who is not an international student or international student, period. And the most I've seen is one hole. And I think from a Ghanaian, I've seen a cartilage piercing. But for me, I was like, well, the Western influence is so great, I just would assume that piercings would be more widespread here, and even tattoos. But talking to my Ghanaian friends and just, just talking really, you notice that people stick to their traditional roots in that sense a lot more. And a lot of African parents do not like piercings, they do not like tattoos, and if you are an African child and you're in your parents' household, you cannot get them because they do not want you to have them. And obviously a lot of the looks I get are from older generations, people who still stick very true to those roots. But then also there are people who are my age who look at me like I'm, I don't know, insane or rebellious or whatever. And I've asked Ghanaians, because I'm not trying to, pass judgment about them, even though I'm being passed judgment about, I don't even know if that made sense. You know what I'm trying to say. But I've asked them, why do people stare at me with my piercings and my tattoo? And it's because people have this stereotype that people with piercings and tattoos are bad, rebellious, thugs, gangsters. And so some people are thinking that when they see me. And then, there are people who come up to me like, oh, I love your piercings so much. Where did you get them done? They look great on you. I want them. Things like that. So I would say that's something that I'm still getting adjusted to, because anyone who knows me knows that I am not a person who likes to be the center of attention. So when I get stared at, it's pretty uncomfortable for me, but it's just something that I'm learning to deal with, and I'm learning to accept. I know who I am as a person. There are people who know me, and more importantly, God knows who I am, and He loves me. So I want to thank every single one of you for watching this video. If you have any questions that I didn't address at all in this video, feel free to message me or comment them below. And any other videos that I think of, I will be recording and posting them a lot sooner. I'm sorry about that. One of my good friends, Claudia, asked would I want to do a video collab, and I would love to do one. That seems so fun. So, you know, just stay on the lookout for my future videos, and have an awesome day. You know what you got to do. Go out and get in your go yard, stay low, and stay solid.